This is Subhash Kumar. On December 6, 2012, the US federal authorities seized an estimated over $100 million worth of Bharatiya art from his garage, which was of course stolen and illegally smuggled into the US. He was later charged for international antiquity smuggling and is now rotting in a jail in Bharat. That is called karma. This man's name is Deenayalan. He was a worker at a local temple renovation company who turned into an idol smuggler. On August 8, 2016, close to 300 stone and bronze artifacts and paintings were found in his house. Initially, the local police estimated that these possessions would cost around 50 crore rupees altogether. But later, a team of professional art investigators estimated that each piece was at least worth 5 crore rupees, and few of them could range up to hundreds of crores individually if they were legally sold. That doesn't mean they have to be sold. I'm just giving you an idea of how much they are valued monetarily. This woman is a Bharatiya origin French woman who runs an antiquity smuggling network in France along with her French husband. When police raided her house in Pondicherry, they found 11 artifacts, 4 out of which were worth between 150 to 200 crore rupees. These are just 3 stories which the media duly covered. Other than them, there are countless idol smuggling cartels in Bharat. On an average, more than 1,000 precious art pieces get smuggled out of Bharat every year illegally. According to Indian origin shipping executive, each of these stolen pieces cost no less than $1 million. 1,200 rare art pieces have been smuggled out of Tamil Nadu alone since 2001, especially those belonging to the Cholan dynasty. But how is it possible that so many idols and paintings are being stolen away so effortlessly, without any trouble and with no attention of enforcement agencies or the people? Smugglers are using courier services for transportation. That's how easy it has become for them to steal away our cultural pride. Idol smuggling has become an industry now. It's a multi-million-dollar racket with its clients all over the world, especially in Australia, Europe and UAE. Idol smuggling is done through sea routes, obviously, but these routes are different from the other smuggling routes like those of drugs and gold. Europe is the favorite marketplace for these smugglers because in European Union almost all countries are borderless and the security is not very stringent there. So these idols are generally hoarded in Europe until they are bought and delivered to galleries in countries like Australia, US and UAE. There are smuggling ground agents in India in every corner of the country. They might be present around you also. They are also present in various government departments and they number in thousands. The job of these ground agents is to send pictures of the available art pieces or give tips to overseas dealers. Basically, they do the groundwork. Then the overseas dealers deal with international auction houses and galleries who select the pictures they want, and there will be a bidding war amongst them. Then they order the pieces they like. This entire process is happening every day on an organizational level. And finally, when the deal gets completed, the money is shared between the dealer and the auction house. And once this process reaches this point, it becomes very hard for us to reclaim our belongings. There will be legal barriers and of course political barriers. And one of the big problems, especially with Bharatiya antiquities, is that most of the idols in Bharat were never documented properly. This makes it easy for the smugglers to replicate these idols and replace them with the duplicates. And this happens in such a way that even the local people will never realize that the idol has been replaced. Second biggest problem in Bharat is we never had proper law to stop idol smuggling. I'll give you a perspective here. So Italy has strengthened its anti-smuggling law in 2012. Since then, it has received more than 7.8 lakh idols and paintings and other antiquities. In the same period, India only recovered 29 pieces. According to a government CAG report regarding antiquities, in between 1971 and 2012, only 19 antiquities were recovered. In between 2000 to 2012, literally 0 art pieces were recovered. Because at that time we had a government which was never proud of Bharat or its culture. But in the same time, in between 2010 to 2012, 4,000 idols were stolen. It is the highest pace till now. Remember Subhash Kumar? He is not the first one from his family to do this business. He inherited this from his family, which was in the business since 1971. And until Subhash Kumar, no one were even questioned at least once. Vaman Gia, another illegal art smuggler, has himself confessed that he sold over 10,000 art pieces to 6 different Swiss companies. and still roams free most of the time. That's the state of antiquities law in Bharat. Also, if you observe carefully, all art pieces that are being stolen or destroyed are those which belong to the Hindu community only. You can guess the reason for this. All of this is happening because of the government control over Hindu temples. A lot of shameless government officials themselves are involved in these rackets. They are simply looting what the Britishers left undone. Idol smuggling is a very big part of terrorist funding. ISIS uses antiquity smuggling racket to fund their terror activities, especially in Pakistan and Afghanistan. So it's like they are looting our property, selling it, and with that money they are throwing bombs back at us. So our cultural pride is either being looted for terrorism or for decorating bathrooms and bedrooms of some wealthy people by throwing money. Is this what our value is? Does our art mean nothing more than this? I believe it's priceless, and the government should understand this as soon as possible. Now I'll introduce you to a man whose story will inspire you. This is Mr. Vijay Kumar, the man who is busting the entire racket with his team. He used to work for a shipping company in Singapore, where he had access to the company's catalogs and photos, which is how he found out how big illegal art market is. Today he leads a team of history buffs who track down idols using simple tools like WhatsApp, internet and a lot of passion. Initially, when they started out in 2008, people didn't take them seriously. But when people realized that they are fighting a good fight, even some international agencies and media started helping them. Especially when the UK and the US realized that ISIS was being funded by an illegal antiquity network. They started working with Vijay's team. His team was the one who chased Subhash Kumar with the help of US law enforcement. Vijay Kumar said in an interview that as more idols are being gifted to Prime Minister Modi on his visits overseas, people began taking note of Vijay's team's efforts. In the last decade, his team has created an entire library on idols from all parts of the country. Now they are trying to create documentation and archives of all their research. We can make noise. In the recent years, a lot of galleries in the US and other European countries are not buying idols if those idols are not documented properly. They are doing this because of people like Vijay Kumar. They don't want to waste money and time on pieces that they have to return later. So we can amplify this noise and make it even harder for these illegal art dealers to sell them. In fact, keep raising this issue whenever you get to talk about the Free Temples movement. And there is one more effective way in which you can help. All you need to do is become a typical Indian. Usually, Indians have a habit of saving a copy of everything, like documents or photos, right? So, whenever you go to any temple or a historical place, take pictures of the idols and art pieces and label them or tag them with that place. Try to do some of the off record documentation. It's nothing, basically, try to find out as many details as you can from this list and share them along with the picture. Try to find out the date of the creation, who created it, what is it made of. Try to find out how some of the unique features of that artifact. This will greatly help people like Vijay Kumar and his team to track down the origin of the idols when they find them in overseas galleries or museums. So on a final note, I would say that Bharatiya people should give it a thought before their cultural cleansing becomes unstoppable. This is the time we can do something about it. We have to bring our cultural heritage back to the temples where it belongs. Let's do it. Namaskaram, Jai Hind.